Bottled in bond. Bottled in bond. Bottled in bond. The hell does that mean? Welcome to KIllco. My name is Brian, and I am currently in the middle of a dry week. Plenty of coffee, though. It's past 10 p.m. I don't know what I'm doing. But it's Wednesday, and you want to do a video because you have to put out content because you need more subscribers because the YouTube overlords demand thumbs. That's when I noticed this video is going to be released on March 3rd, which is officially Bottle and Bond Day. So as I am not drinking, and some people might not know because I sure as hell didn't, and still don't really know, I'm going to record the experience of me finding out more about Bottle and Bond Day. That works, right? Sure. It'll be fine. No problem. 1,000 views. Definitely. As I often say, I don't like to just memorize stuff and say it to people as if I actually know what I'm talking about. It's all just what I've heard, what I've seen, and I'm going to literally just read what I was able to find online through Google. It may not be the best content, but it's something. This information brought to you by Wikipedia. Bottled in bond is a label for an American-made distilled beverage that has been aged and bottled according to a set of legal regulations contained in the United States government's Standards of Identity for Distilled Spirits. That sounds complicated. As originally laid out in the Bottle and Bond Act, 1897, a long time ago, as a reaction to widespread adulteration in American whiskey, the act made the federal government the guarantee of a spirit's authenticity, gave producers a tax incentive for participating, of course, and helped ensure proper accounting and the eventual collection of the tax that was due. Although the regulations apply to all spirits, most bonded spirits are whiskey in practice. Here's where it gets fancy. To be labeled as bottled in bond or bonded, the liquor must be the product of one distillation season, January to June or July to December. I didn't even know there were distillation seasons. Hey, I learned something. By one distiller at one distillery. It must have been aged in a federally bonded warehouse under U.S. government supervision for at least 4 years and bottled at 100 U.S. proof, 50% alcohol by volume. My favorite. The bottled product's label must identify the distillery where it was distilled, and if different, where it was bottled. Only spirits produced in the United States may be designated as bonded. Some consumers consider the term to be an endorsement of quality, while many producers consider it archaic and do not use it. However, because bottled and bond whiskey must be the product of one distillation season, one distillery, and one distiller, whereas ordinary straight whiskey may be a product of the mingling of straight whiskeys of the same grain type, with different ages and producers within a single state. It may be regarded as a better indication of the distiller's skill, making it similar in concept to a single malt whiskey, small batch whiskey, or a single barrel whiskey. There you go. Now, we've gotten through all that. Why did they need to do this? Why did the government have to get involved with whiskey? Again, to be clear, it was for a very good reason. And that reason is, one purpose of the Bottle and Bond Act was to create a standard quality for bourbon whiskey. Prior to the Act's passage, much of the whiskey sold as straight whiskey was anything but. So much of it was adulterated out of greed, flavored and colored with iodine, tobacco, and other substances, that some perceived a need for veritable quality assurance. It's good enough reason. The practice was also connected to tax law. Oh, that's exciting. Taxes are exciting. Which provided the primary incentive for distillers to participate. Distillers were allowed to delay payment of the excess tax on the stored whiskey until the aging of the whiskey was completed, and the supervision of the warehouse ensured proper accounting and the eventual collection of the tax. Yay. This combination of advantages led a group of whiskey distillers led by Colonel Edmund Hayes Taylor, Jr. Wait a minute. Colonel E.H. Taylor, small batch. Colonel Edmund Hayes Taylor, Jr., creator of Old Taylor Bourbon, to join with then Secretary of Treasury John G. Carlis to fight for the Bottle and Bond Act, To ensure compliance, Treasury agents were assigned to control access to so-called bonded warehouses at the distilleries. In addition to producing bonded bourbon, some companies produced bonded rye whiskey, corn whiskey, and apple brandy. Oh, apple brandy, that sounds good. So there you have it. You learned something. This guy apparently was involved with making the Bottle and Bond Act. What was it again? To be labeled bottle and bond whiskey must be the product of one distillation season from either January to June or July to December, aged in a warehouse for at least 4 years, bottled at 100 proof, include the distillery at which it was made and bottled on the label. And I'll throw in a little blip. Yes, I did get this intro from the E.H. Taylor website. It's fine. As the father of modern bourbon industry, Colonel E.H. Taylor Jr. threw his hat in the ring and led the charge for legislation. So join us as we raise a glass to the past and honor one of history's most revered makers of straight bourbon whiskey. And that's it, folks. I can't have a drink, but please have some Bottle and Bond whiskey in my stead. I'll just be drinking some coffee, most likely. Until next time, live long and prosper. Don't forget to be awesome. That's Launch Show. Thank you for joining me on KIllco. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.